Hello, family. Today is Tuesday, June the 12th, 2012, and I am coming to you to bring you guys a new project. On this project today, family, what we're doing we are taking one of my new full lace units and we're going to put in a silk liner on the inside of this unit. I don't want to wear a cap if I don't want to. I want to be able to allow my hair to breathe a bit. So without putting on a cap, we're going to apply the silk liner in here. But the twist is, let me tell you what the twist is. The twist is, as opposed to a needle and thread, family, we are getting ready to use some fusible witchery. Now, basically, it's just a interfacing is what it is, and but actually, you can adhere fabric to fabric with it, and it's called witchery. Now, this is an old one that I had in my sewing kit already. I've never used it, as you can see, but what I did was when I went to Joann's, I had a couple of 40% off coupons. So I simply bought another one, which is the full packet. That is about a good yard. And so I bought that one. And I found this silk remnant on clearance. And with my 40% off coupon, I want to believe that I got it about $2.25. So we have our $2.25 remnant of silk, flesh colored material. I have a few T-pins for this raggedy wig head that has seen better days. Nonetheless, it is still functional. So guess what? We still gonna use it. I also have my wig head clamp. I picked this up from Sally's. Oh my God, it's been some time ago, a year or so ago, and it was about $12. So we're going to attach that onto the countertop here. And this is my full lace red unit from Malaysian Hair Designs. So let's get started, family. Okay, family. What I did was I have simply put the clamp onto the countertop here. I applied the wig head with the unit on the head. And what we're going to do first is we're going to make a template. So what we're going to do is we're going to line this on here from temple to temple. Once you line it on there fairly decently, you're going to take your pins and you're going to stick in your pins around the front portion of it. Make sure it's good and taut. And so we're going to make a nice little template. Now, once you've made your template, okay, once that's on there, then you're going to get, I took these out of my sewing kits. Of course, I had to have pink, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to trace around the hairline like so, being sure that I get all around here. And once you've pretty much made a nice template and traced it very well, and we're going to go back to the mesh lining here in the back, okay? We're going to go that far back because I want some really, really good parting on this unit. So I'm going to take it all the way to the back. Now, with these darts that are inside of here, you see, now what we can do is, this is where your seamstress, inner seamstress, gonna have to come in, and I can do a couple of those and do that like that. Now, once I get that pretty much, like a pre-tracing, because once I cut off all this excess, I'm gonna have more leeway to really see what it is that I'm doing here. So I'm gonna start over here at this end, and I'm going to pull this witchery away from the lace and away from the hair, and I'm just going to start snipping at it here. being sure not to get your lace at all. You don't want to do that for sure. Now, nor the hair. So I'm just going to cut a wide cut here, and I'll make it more intricate and more detailed later. Okay, now once I've cut away all that witchery, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to begin trimming around this lace here without cutting the hair. If you can help it, you're simply going to cut simply around that hairline, like so. If you guys can see that, there's the hairline, there's that, and then there's the point there, and then here it kind of concaves in here. I'm gonna put my finger here to ensure that I don't cut any of the hair, and I'm gonna like so. Being sure not to cut that. Now, we have our witchery completely around the perimeter of this. Okay. Now, once you get it around the perimeter, we're going to take this off because this is simply our template, and we're going to begin with our quick measurement. Okay. I'm going to take a quick measurement from tempo, end of tempo to tempo. Boom. And that is about 13 3/4, okay? So right here where that line is, I'm going to put a pin here as my guide to know exactly the length to here, and I know that's where to cut it at, okay? But we also got to get a measurement from here to here. So the measurement from here to here is about 5 1/4. So we'll also put a pin here for 5 1/4. So we're going to get our length versus our width, if that's making sense, okay? Okay, I just simply took my crafting box here, and I'm just going to use this to kind of bring that up so I won't be reaching down so low. Okay, so what I'm doing is I'm taking the material. I'm mindful of this wrinkle in here, okay, because we want to ensure that we're going to get an accurate cutting, okay? So first off, lengthwise from tempo to tempo is 13 3/4. So I'm just going to nip this here on the end at that reading, which is about right there, okay? Now that we figured that out, now we got to get how thick it's going to be. So right where I cut it, my hope is that you guys can see this. Let me put it more down in the frame so you can see. Okay, now I line that up to where I snipped it. I'm going to go down 5 1/4. So let's take that. I don't have my cutting wheel, but that would have been better. Okay, let me. Okay, so now that is as our silk lining for our frontal. Okay, now that we got that accomplished, here's the full piece. So let's get back on the... Okay, once you've cut out your template of your silk lining, you take your witchery off of the unit, and then you're going to just simply, whichever way, or if you are a seamstress, you can go alongside the curvature of this, like so, whichever way, whatever's easier for you. I'm just a seamstress, so, you know, of course I like my stuff a particular kind of way, and I'm just a little particular like that. So whichever way is easier for you, the main object is to bring these pieces together so that you can begin to cut them out, okay? So let's just simply get this cut out really, really nicely here. We're going to cut around the ear, cut out here. Whew, it's hot. The steam makes it adhere very quickly as opposed to the dry iron. I placed it on the corner to get more of the crown, so then therefore it would fit much more nicer on the corner. So I applied that dart back in there to ensure that it would fit very snugly and much more comfortably. So let's see, that is the dart there. We'll work on that later, but as of right now, our main focus is to make sure that this is adhering on this unit very nicely. Now what you have to factor in, this is going to be on the inside, so it's not like it's going to really show. The point of the matter with this whole project was simply to find another way to do this as opposed to sewing it inside of the unit. Okay, family, I'm now going to take my scissors and I'm going to, as if I'm cutting off lace around the edges, I'm going to take off the excess around the edges here with my small scissors. See, so once you cut all this off, it should be a better look. It should look better, because as of right now, you see the ends are frayed and such. But once I cut all this off, then I'm going to hit the iron across the edges once more once I cut off all this excess around the edges. So let's cut that off. Overall, this idea was simply just an epiphany that I had in my sleep. I watched a few ladies, Michi for one, and she was putting a silk liner in her unit. And so as I watched her do that, one mind told me, okay, well, damn, you could do that. But how about if we didn't have to sew it? Then how would that be? So that's what brought the witchery about, to try it this way. And one thing about the witchery is thinner than the fusible webbing. The witchery is thinner, and what happens is it simply disappears in the hairline. Once you bring the silk on there, see, once the silk is adhered, you no longer see the webbing. It's gone. It's completely gone. Anyway, thanks for watching. Bye.